Hello, my name is Nathan Taylor, otherwise known as Sockmatician, and this is a video tutorial to accompany the Sockmatician's Double Knitted Brioche ebook. This particular tutorial looks at how to work syncopated double knitted brioche. Now, what is syncopated double knitted brioche? It's where the columns of knit stitches become columns of purl stitches, and the columns of purl stitches become columns of knit stitches, and what it ends up doing is it changes the dominant colour for the section of syncopated brioche. Can you see on this swatch here, the dominant colour on this side is the brown because that's the colour of the knit stitches. If I turn it over, the dominant colour is obviously the blue there. But in this little section here, you can see that the dominant colour is actually blue. And what's going on there? If you follow the columns of knit stitches, the brown knit stitches, up into that section, at this point, those brown stitches stop being knit stitches and they start being the yarn overs in between the columns of blue knit stitches. And looking at the columns of purl stitches here with their blue yarn overs, giving the diagonal lines there, working their way up here, at this point they suddenly become blue knit stitches. And so the knit stitch is always the dominant visually dominant colour on each side. And so where we've got the syncopated brioche stitch section here, the dominant colour is blue. It's worked by continuing along in your row and just switching the order of knit and purl. So far, everything we've looked at in double knitted brioche has been knit purl, knit purl, knit purl, knit purl as we go along. Well, at the point where I come to here, which is the transition between the two, I'm moving from knit purl, knit purl, knit purl to purl knit, purl knit, purl knit. The colour orientation still stays the same. I'm working every stitch as brown, blue, brown, blue, brown, blue, brown, blue, brown, blue, brown, blue, even though I've transitioned into syncopated brioche. So how's it done? It's very, very simple. I'm at the point in my knitting here where I've still got one pair of standard double knitted brioche stitches to work before switching over to syncopated brioche. And at that point, I will show you exactly what you need to do. So here I am starting ready to work this final pair here, which is the standard pair. And I've got my knit coloured yarn at the back of the work and my purl coloured yarn at the front. The knit coloured yarn going over the top of the right needle, of course. So I'm going to work that final pair of double knitted brioche stitches, the yarn over manoeuvre and the purl stitch. And I always finish by taking my knit coloured yarn to the back of the work. To transition between standard double knitted brioche and syncopated brioche, there's a couple of things we need to do with the yarns first. First thing to do is to bring your knit coloured yarn to the front of the work, coming between the two needles, and then you take your purl coloured yarn to the back of the work, going over the top of the right needle. So I've now got my knit coloured yarn in front. I'm holding it up here, but it's officially it is in front of the work there, and my purl coloured yarn is at the back. Having switched the positions of the yarn, I've got my knit coloured yarn at the front of the work and my purl coloured yarn at the back, going over the right needle. The first thing to do is I'm going to purl the first stitch of the pair with my knit coloured yarn. Remember, we've switched from knit purl pairs to purl knit pairs, so here comes that first purl stitch. As I purl into the stitch and its yarn over with my knit coloured yarn, it's really important as I take the right needle out that I maintain the position of the purl coloured yarn over the top of that newly made stitch. You see how it's created a yarn over there? You see my finger poking it up there? That's what's really important. Let me show you that again. So I've got my purl coloured yarn over the right needle there, and it's important that it stays there as I complete the purl stitch. It's still over the top of that right needle there. And then all I need to do is I knit the next stitch with my purl coloured yarn, which is now at the back of the work. Having worked those two stitches, I need to shuffle my yarns around again, and this time I'm going to take my knit coloured yarn to the back of the work over the top of the right needle, giving that stitch a yarn over, and then bring it to the front, coming between the two needles. Then I'm going to bring my purl coloured yarn to the front of the work between the two needles and take it to the back over the top of the right needle, and we're ready to start again. So I purl with my knit coloured yarn, being sure to leave that purl coloured yarn over in place. I knit with the purl coloured yarn. Then I take my knit coloured yarn over the top of the right needle to the back and between the two needles to the front. Then I bring my purl coloured yarn to the front of the work between the two needles, then I take it to the back over the top of the right needle. Show that one more time. Purl with the knit coloured yarn, making sure I maintain the position of that pearl coloured yarn over. Knit with the pearl coloured yarn. Take my knit coloured yarn to the back and to the front, and then pearl coloured yarn to the front and to the back. So it's back, front, back. Ready to go again. Purl with the knit coloured yarn, knit with the pearl coloured yarn, back, front, back. Purl with the knit coloured yarn, maintaining that yarn over of course, knit with the pearl coloured yarn, knit coloured yarn goes back, front, pearl coloured yarn goes front, back. This is the last pair that I'm going to do before transitioning. Can you see I've got these two knit columns next to each other, with no purl stitches in between. So when I'm working this last pair of syncopated brioche stitches before transitioning back to ordinary double knitted brioche, what I need to do is I'm going to still work that purl stitch with the knit coloured yarn, maintaining that position of the back, and then I'm going to knit the second stitch with the pearl coloured yarn. So that's exactly as it was before, but the movement of the yarns is slightly different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the knit coloured yarn to the back of the work, going over the top of the right needle, and I don't bring it to the front this time. I'm going to leave it there at the back. Then I'm going to bring the pearl coloured yarn to the front of the work, coming between the two needles, and again I'm going to leave it there rather than continue the movement as we did before. This of course has put my yarns exactly as we want them back in place for working double knitted brioche as normal. So then I can just knit with my knit coloured yarn, work the yarn over manoeuvres, and purl with my pearl coloured yarn, and I'm off. And that's all you need to know about working syncopated double knitted brioche. Zip!